everyone! This video shows my progress of 1 year doll customizing. I hope you like it. My very first doll I built from scratch and it shows. I love the project and the concept, but the execution of Kirke was very bad. I used air dry clay for her. All the accessories were made from polymer clay. And the ashtray I found at the thrift store, of course. I will redo Kerke one day. She was sculpted after a picture from John William Waterhouse, one of my favorite painters from the pre-Raphaelites. Raphaelite, you know. My second try was with a Barbie. Because I didn't have a Monster High doll yet, I never heard of them till now, and I was trying to find some secondhand online. So I experimented a lot with different types of clay I already had at home and some paints. I did buy some sculpting resin for the ice spikes, and the base was an old candy box which still opens. The wings are made with white glue, and I had some pearl beads for her crown. And then my first Monster High dolls came in, and there was an ever after doll among them, and I made her into a flower fairy. I also learned I had to use MSC, so I searched for that too. I could only find it in a Dutch online store, nowhere in the store here. Also using air dry clay and polymer clay here, but the face up I did with polychromos pencils. And later I learned that's a no-no. Not sure why, but until her redo, everything looked fine with it. I only had Inktense pencils at this point, and I wasn't sure I could use them. I learned not much later that I could. And of course, I would make a mermaid too. This was my fourth try, but for the sake of my channel, I named it my second custom. I was very happy with the decor, but I knew I had to practice a lot with hair and face. Till this point, I learned from a few artists some techniques, so thanks for that. Like Cadmillion Studio, of course, Poppen Atelier, and one of my favorites, Fairyman. But I would discover so much more great customers I didn't know yet. My third diorama was from a comic book I loved growing up. It's about Dreamland and its residents, a magical world, and I was very happy with what I made. My next one was inspired by an old box from my mother, and I saw a ballerina emerging. Well, not really. I can't see it in my mind, right? But I was also very happy with this transformation. I have to check the face though, because I think I used the polychromos here too. I also regret not using a motor for the platform, but I have a budget and that was not in it. Maybe one day. And then my twin sister came to me with a charm, and I had to make that for her, of course. I struggled a lot with this one. A lot went wrong, but she liked it, so that was good. But we already discussed it. I will redo her one day and fix the lights, who, by the way, she provided for me. She herself is very creative in her spare time. So she has a lot of goodies I can borrow sometimes. Number 6, one of my favorites, because it was the start of a trilogy I didn't know I would make. My tree fairy. This one started out totally different. I wanted to make like a statue between the branches and the mosses, like it was overgrown for a long time or something. But it became this along the way, and I'm very happy with her. Number 7 was inspired by a lot of shells I got from a dear friend of mine who got rid of a lot of her hobby stuff. She had literally 3 rooms full of stuff. She wanted to downsize, so I was very happy to get some of it. And with the shells, it was easy to make some kind of a sea creature. This became my sea snake. I never thought I would like so much glitter and gemstones, and I had a lot of fun making this. But actually, I always have fun with customizing. I love every project. I love doing every project. Number 8 was kind of a challenge I gave myself. I like to use used, old, and or broken stuff. Recycle, right? So when I had some broken light string to throw away, I thought to make something with it. This became a robot fairy. Also a lovely project to make. The only thing I regret are her boots. They could be sleeker. Next project I also had a great time with is my graveyard lady. This was my inspiration photo. Maybe next time I'll do some of the lit candles. I had some trouble with the dress, but I think I did okay in the end. The only thing I changed a bit later on is her hair. I cut it a tiny bit shorter. Number 10 was my fire girl. At this point I saw some more customizers like April Rose and Doll Afterlife, and I would really like to make some feathers like April did. So my fire girl became a phoenix. And the base I used was an old antique ashtray from my grandparents. I thought was great for this project. A nice use for not so nice object. I hate smoking. And I used lights again for the fire. But from now on I will only use USB lights because batteries are out so fast. And then I made part 2 of my trilogy. I didn't know it when I started. The tube was my inspiration and it would be a tree again, so much was clear. And I think the rest of the idea came pretty quick. I was very excited about it. A bird out of a tree. I was also a bit proud when I read all the nice comments under this video. Thanks everyone who did. It feels so good. Number 12 wasn't really 12, but a number 1 redo. I already learned about the watercolor pencils, of course, and I wanted to redo her face and maybe a bit of her pose. I also didn't like the blue flowers, so there were some tiny adjustments here. I still haven't decided yet whether she would get a butterfly in her hair or not. Number 13 was the last of the trilogy. I thought I had to think a long time about this one, so I was very surprised at myself to get the inspiration so soon to make this project. And it was such an easy and fun project to do. By now I discovered the use of baking soda and its versatility. Oh my god, versatility. And again, the comments were so nice. Thanks so much for that. And for number 14, my inspiration was found in a thrift store. A horse and a cute doll. And I was so sure I wasn't going to do a centaur ever. So many customizers already did one. But here we are. I had to take them home and make one myself. And this project turned out to be a budget transformation. Besides of the silver necklace, everything I used was very cheap or already in my stock box. Number 15 was my least favorite project, just because she didn't turn out as I imagined it. Yeah, I can't imagine it, so that makes sense, right? But nevertheless, I wasn't totally happy with the end result. Although I love all the pieces apart, and the techniques I used, but altogether it bothers me still. And for my next two projects, I found two things, metal lampshades that had been in the thrift store for ages, I thought would challenge me, and they did nicely, I think. It would be two projects who are linked to each other a certain way, and I thought of superhero or supervillain duo I like the most. Poison Ivy and Scarlet Witch. I saw some art on Blue Sky come by, so that was my inspiration. And although I was very happy with what I made, on my shorts there were a few unlikers. But most of my videos get a few of those, which I think is a bit of a shame, but well. Let's go to number 18. This project was inspired by my husband. I was a bit inspireless at this point, but I really wanted to work on something. And he said, make a ghost lady above a field of dead flowers. That's all he said, and he wouldn't be involved more than this. But I liked the idea, even though it reminded me very distantly of my graveyard lady. And when I think of this project now, it was also a very low budget transformation, and I was very happy with the end result. But one thing I still haven't addressed are her missing hands. They didn't came with the doll, and I forgot to make them. And because of her long sleeves, I don't have to, I think. For number 19, I made something I thought would be nice to put in our living room. So it had to be something like a plant. Why? Why do you think? I don't have much space in my studio, aka attic, to store all my projects. And my husband don't want them all in the living room. There are a few down there, but he doesn't want more than that. So why not make something like a plant so it's less noticeable as a figurine? I thought it was a brilliant idea. And we both like orchids, so I tried to make one. And after some errors, I think I made a beautiful orchid fairy. And it's downstairs in the living room. And for my 20th transformation, I had yet another doll with no arms and hands. And I still am not good in sculpting such tiny things like fingers. So what to do? Something that has no normal hands, but maybe claws? And the candle holder I found at the thrift store I thought was a nice pedestal for something like a statue or a gargoyle. And I always wanted to make those types of wings, so a gargoyle she would be. And I was very happy with the result. My next two transformations were inspired by yet a thrift store find, two skulls, so I had to think of two projects related to death. The first was easy, the angel of death, but she would be totally different as most angels, I thought. Angels of death, that is, so she would be white and she would lure her death candidates with her beauty. And the second I wanted to get from Scandinavian myths or folklore or legends, so I searched a while and I found the Askafroa, the wife of the ash tree. I thought would be perfect for the second skull. She also lures her victims with her beauty to a punishment or to death. Both skulls are a bit hidden. And the last transformation of 2025 is my mushroom girl. Technically I have two other transformations almost done, but I will upload them in the new year. My channel isn't doing well and I want to use a technique to revive my channel, so hopefully that will work. But it means I'm not uploading for more than over a month now. Oh yeah, my mushroom girl. This was again such a nice project to do. And again, it came out of a doll without arms and hands. So what to do? Again. And again, a challenge for me. The doll had electronics in them, so no head shrinking, but I think I made a very nice diorama and I'm very happy with her. So this was my first year of doll customizing, of learning and trying and failing and trying again. But I never gave up. And in 1 year I managed to complete more than 20 beautiful projects, if I say so myself. And I hope you've enjoyed this little update from me. And my next projects will be soon online. Hope to see you then.